Bro, you know, I'm frustrated. Bro, you're better than this. Look, you're talking about we have to hold them accountable. There's men out there that are just as stupid as women. When you say, what did she do to deserve to get hit? She did nothing to deserve to get hit. There is nothing that you can do that justifies hitting the woman.
Those were not my words.
Well, you said to her, what did you do to make him hit you?
Not make him.
There's nothing that
we're all responsible for our own actions. But you see, the thing is, women hit men with their tongues. Yeah. They lash out on men with their tongues. The thing is, there's no crime for lashing out on a man or on anyone with your tongue. Men react aggressively physically. There is a crime for that. There is, you will have to face the weight of the law for that, which is fine. There is no justification for a man hitting the woman, even though, and I will say this loud and clear, some of you women need a slap. Some of you do. Should you get it? No, but you do need it. Regardless, the problem here is, Akhi Isa, is that we are not holding them responsible for their bad behavior. This innate protective drive that men have over women is allowing women to get off scot-free. And that's why women love narratives like yours, because it enables them to get off scot-free without being held accountable. I am here to hold them accountable.
Prof, I don't think you're holding them accountable. I think you're just annoying them, to be honest with you. I mean, the certain things that you're saying, I wonder whether you actually listen to the stuff that comes out of your mouth sometimes, because it's kind of.
Let's not reduce this to ad hominems and moralizing.
Bro,
attack the argument.
Okay, the argument is this, bro. I mean, sometimes you say so many different things that I kind of lose track. I'm just sitting here shaking my head at some of it. You know what I mean? But there is never a situation where a man should hit a woman. I don't agree with hitting women, full stop. Okay, so I don't really ask the woman to justify what has she done to upset her husband if the man has put hands on her. Okay, so I don't really see that as a conversation.
Therein is the problem, Asa, because some women have pushed their men so far that the reason why, look, if you want to talk about women who have suffered domestic violence, first and foremost, they are a minority of women. Less than 1 in 5 women will ever experience domestic violence over the course of their lifetime. Less than 20% of women. So they are a minority. From that 20%, and by the way, and you didn't know this, do you know domestic violence numbers are almost 50-50 with women hitting men? 1 in 7 men will experience domestic violence.
Actually, you know, bro, I do work with the Domestic Abuse Alliance, which is it deals specifically in women that have domestic abuse issues and helping them get rehoused and go to court and everything else. Okay, so I'm a little bit you know, with this, and that's a little bit personal to me, because to put hands on a woman, it just, again, it sparks and that protective instinct that I have to women. You know, it's one thing to have a shouting match with your wife or whoever. It's another thing to put hands on her. If you're a real man, you don't hit women. Okay, you go and hit other men. Pick on someone your own size. Okay, don't hit women. Okay, so that's that point there. But
and
this whole thing,
if she's a real woman, should she lash out with her tongue on her man?
Right. If she lashes out of her tongue at a man, the man has a choice to walk. He can step. He can jog on. He doesn't have to stay there.
Still a real woman. Well, because you mentioned that if a man hits a woman, he's not a real man.
In my opinion, men don't hit women.
What disqualifies a woman from being a real woman?
I don't know what you mean by that. I mean, what would disqualify a woman?
And that's the problem, Akhi Isa. We have so many disqualification metrics for telling men, you're not a man if you do this, you're not a man if you do that, and you're not a man if you do the other. But we have none that disqualify women from being women, quote unquote.
I got one. A woman that can't look after or neglects her children willfully and neglects her husband's rights willfully. That, I would say, she's overstepped the line of being a mum and a woman.
That's good, but we had to think about that. And you know why we had
I didn't have to think about it, because you're chucking a lot at me.
Because we don't hold them accountable. We hold men accountable all the time, as we should do.
Who doesn't hold women accountable, brother? I mean, where do you get this that women are not held accountable?
In this discussion, okay, so you had to think about that answer.
No, because I have to think, because you're saying a lot. You know, so in the hullabaloo of a conversation, I have to frame my thoughts a little bit. Okay, sometimes I have to just think about what I'm thinking about. But you're saying that we don't hold women accountable, and I'm saying, where did they not get held accountable? If they're divorced and we're not willing to marry them, then that's an accountability. And a lot of the time, possibly that they could be innocent of that anyway. Okay, that
will never happen. Divorced sisters they're sisters who have some of the most options to choose from. You would be shocked. They have plenty of options to choose from.
Well, not if brothers listen to you, they wouldn't.
The brothers who listen to me, I hope that they don't. Do you know why? Because for a small portion of men, particularly men who have many options to choose from, if you're a man who has many options to choose from, and by that I mean you're high value, you shouldn't even be wasting your time with this. Go and build your own legacy. Have children of your own with a woman who represents the highest probability of success in a marriage, as opposed to raising next man's kids. That make no sense.
Okay, bro, stop. Because you know, now we're talking about kids. Okay, right. Listen, if you're a man that sees a woman, a divorced woman with children, and you see those children as a burden or as something that is a luggage or some terminology like this, please run for the hills. Please run for the hills. Don't marry the woman. Leave her alone. Leave her kids alone. Jog on. Keep it moving, and let a better man that's up for the job marry that woman with those kids. Let a man who looks at these children. No, brother. Let a man that looks at those children as a blessing. Let a man who looks at those children as a possible path to paradise by giving them support, food, love, morals. Let that man marry that woman with those children. The other men that look at it like that, they can off, you know what I mean? They can keep it moving, bruv. Because this thing about kids now, we're going to bring kids into this conversation, raise the next man's kids. Someone's got to raise them kids because the father couldn't do it. So, bruv, very personal like that, bruv. You know
what cuckoldry is? Are you aware of what cuckoldry?
Bro, we can put long words into this. I'm not sure, but please.
A cuckoldry, or the short term is a cuck, typically happens amongst birds, where a bird will pick up an egg from his nest. A male bird will pick up an egg from his nest and plant it in the nest of another male bird without that other bird realizing, so that he can be responsible for raising the subsequent chick that comes out of that. Okay. So oftentimes a man who raises another man's kids is he's given the nickname a cuck. You're a cuck. You're raising another man's child. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, there are a number of problems with raising another man's children. But one of the biggest problems, aside from the sexual abuse and all of that, which is already a big problem, is that once again, this narrative that you're peddling is allowing women to get off scot-free. You are encouraging, I'll say it again, you are encouraging sisters to get married, have children, get divorced. Get married again, have children again, get divorced. And then and then get married a third time, have children again, and get divorced. And your narrative encourages that.
It does. How?
Because you are encouraging men to.
How am I encouraging it, bro? When have I ever said get divorced in any of this confidence? In every conversation, I've never said get divorced.
I'll explain. I'll explain.
Because I'd love to know.
Only a real man.
You're gonna have to work really hard now.
Only a real man will take on another man's children. Do you know what that does? A woman sits there thinking, fantastic. You know what? This husband I have right now, I'm not too into him right now. He's not too great. I'm going to pull the plug on this marriage because Brother Isa is encouraging men to be a man and raise another man's kids. Your narrative is encouraging divorce.
No, it's not.
And, it's not. And not holding women accountable to their bad choices.
Firstly, brother, I never said don't hold women accountable. Everyone is accountable. Allah will hold everyone accountable ultimately. But I never said don't hold anybody accountable, men or women, for what they need to be accountable for. Secondly, I've never encouraged anyone to get. If it's one of the things that makes Allah's throne shake, why would I encourage that? Even accidentally, I would think about what I said. No, I haven't just done it, bruv. You've put that in there like I've done it. I've never done that.
Because there are side effects to what we say. And one of the side effects of what you've said is men should not make a differentiation between a divorced woman and a non-divorced woman. So when women hear that, a woman who is in her marriage right now and she is disenchanted with her husband, and I say disenchanted, why? Because the majority of divorces that happen because of disenchantment. All right. And 70 to 80% of all divorces are initiated by the women. We know this, right?
Do we? I don't know.
Yes, 70 to 80% in the West. I'm talking about in the West. I don't know.
In the West. Does that include the Muslims, or is that just in the West?
Gabriel said that in the Khalij right now, and he didn't specify which Arab country, he just said in somewhere in the Middle East, that khul, one of the shuyukh said to him, that khul, the women asking for khul is like changing their sandals. Okay. It's like that's how frequently they're asking for khul. So the majority of women pull the plug on their divorces, fine. And the majority of that percentage do so because of disenchantment, which is, I just don't rate him. So when they hear brothers like you peddling this extremely dangerous narrative You empower them to get yet more divorces and run through yet more failed marriages, and have more children outside of wedlock with yet more, inside wedlock, but more children with more men, and then perpetuating that cycle. That's the danger of your narrative, Isa.